Hello and welcome back to Roll for Damage. Tonight on Making Monsters, we are going to make a Nightmare Centaur. Now this Centaur is one of two minions that are the right hand of my Dark Lady in my campaign. And I've been trying to come up with a way to do this, and finally I come across these little horses at the Dollar Tree. Most of them, for the most part, are pretty crap, basically. Some of them are just some weird poses, or too large for the need of a tabletop mini, or too small for the need. Some of them look kind of like a mule, so those would work. However, I needed horses, and the two that were in this pack was a brown and a black one, and those were pretty much the same height as I would need. So I needed an actual torso form, so I used these Dollar Tree skeletons, or sorry, Dollar Store, I think it's Dollar General skeletons that are out for Halloween. And what I'm doing now is I'm going back and I'm filling in all the bones, basically adding flesh to the skeleton. And I'm using hot glue and wax paper. That way the hot glue won't stick to the wax paper. I could push it into the between the ribs and the bones, and add muscle that I need to and where I need it. Once that was done, I'm going back and I'm filling in the gap between where I cut the horse's head off, basically his whole neck, and the section where I glued the skeleton to the actual horse. And then I just went back and filled it in. That way it looks like a solid torso and not that gap between the two. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to add armor. I actually used sandpaper for the leather jerkin that he's wearing. I used like paper thin shavings of EVA foam to make this guy's buckle, and it was actually just a scrap piece that I had. You could use cardstock or anything really. It was just something that I had readily on my table when I looked down. So here it is. I have a shoulder pad on his off hand. In his main hand he's going to be carrying a spear. We're going to actually craft that as well. So there's his leather jerkin. He had his shoulder pad and his belt buckle. Alright, so what I did now, and it's kind of hard to see, I apologize, but I basically put a toothpick down on wax paper and spread a cone of hot glue over the cone and let that dry. So it's basically like a flat piece of hot glue. I traced out the shape of the blade that I wanted, cut it out with an X-Acto knife, and now I'm using that hot glue gun to actually smooth and bevel the edges. Alright, and now I'm attaching the spear to the horse. And now I'm cutting toothpicks, the little points of toothpicks. On the front of my Centaur's feet, he's got these nails that come out of his front, basically feet protectors. I don't actually know what they're called on a horse. I know they actually have a real name, but I can't think of it, I'm sorry. But I'm going to put some spikes on his pauldron, some spikes on his, where his hooves, like whatever that's called that covers their hooves. And this was a painstaking process because I was only using minimal hot glue, and it was drying rather quickly on me. So I then realized that you can actually apply the hot glue where you want it, and then just tap the tip of that hot glue to the dried hot glue, and it basically just remelts it for you, and then you could just put those little spikes on. Alright, see, so on his feet he's got two nails. He's got two spikes on his shoulder pad. There's his spear. I made some hair. And I went ahead and showed you this painted black because I'm going to try and paint this, and I haven't painted a Mini in like 8 years, and everybody knows I'm not the greatest painter. So before I butchered it, I wanted to show you at least a solid black form of it. I could have done a little better on the hair. I was trying to make it flaming, but it was giving me the hardest time doing this today. It came out, okay, and it's okay from a distance, but it definitely needs a little more attention up close. And again, I am a terrible painter. I haven't done this in so long for something so detailed. Terrains and things like that are completely different, but all my minis are either solid colors or they've been pre-painted or painted by someone else. So, needless to say, it was really fun, but I definitely have a long way to go before I could consider myself halfway decent at painting a miniature. That is actually the top of an empty fish oil for that base, and I just covered that in dirt and textured it with the dirt and let it dry. Painted it black, used the same mud base coat, and hot glued it on there. So, not too bad for a Dollar Tree craft, huh? Well, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, make sure you click that bell to receive all notifications.